Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Spotter. I am back. I had a little break, and it's been a busy last few months, to be honest with you, with obviously recording the podcast and the ones I did up to the episode of Harry. And, up to this point, it's been end of season for Abby, who has been competing. She did 3 shows, did really well, and then we went away. So it's just been a mega period. And it's not slowing down. There's so much coming up. This time of year always picks up. But yeah, having the time away from recording the podcast across the sort of like 4 weeks allowed me to reflect on what I'd done up to this point, reflect on the conversations I've had. I'm very proud of what I've done so far. I think that deep down I want to reiterate the message as to what the Spotter is and what I'm doing this for, what I originally created this podcast for. It's a means for me to talk in the hope that it helps people. I think that I need to ensure that, because this is what I tend to do, and I worry about, pipeline, worrying about who can I get on, who can I plan to get on, what conversations can I have. But first and foremost, I started this podcast for me. I started it as a way of me, in my next chapter of my life, this chapter of my life, allowing me to talk in the hope that the people listening find some comfort in that. It helps. I had lots of conversations about, and I've barely brushed the surface or touched the surface with, what I've spoken about in my, in my past, my upbringing, the things I've been through, my family's been through. So I just wanted to ensure that I was having the conversations that I wanted to have that made me feel good about talking about them. And, I felt like I was providing something back to you. I think back to the conversation about my dad and, talking about his battle with alcohol and how that affected me at a young age. I think these are really important conversations to have and talk about and highlight, especially things like that, at a young age, what it does to you and what it leaves, what it leaves behind. I think I really wanted to pick up, the mic's actually joined to my desk, so not picking up. I really wanted to hit record today because it's Men's Mental Health Month, something I'm passionate about in general, championing men in particular, not just people as a whole, but men in particular speak out about what they're going through, their feelings, not feeling alone, how to check on your friends. That's something that, we should all be in general just encouraged to do. But for men in particular, I felt really compelled to pick up the mic. I say pick up again. And just basically tell you how I'm feeling at the minute. And to be honest with you, this year in general has been a bit of a blur. It's been great, but it's been pretty chaotic at times. It's been one where I've questioned a lot about life, the meaning of certain things, what we're meant to be doing. I questioned a lot about myself, my role in life, and what I'm meant to be doing. And it's been difficult in that regard. And I had my realization back maybe 2 months ago that I don't think I am fully yet. Like I said, I don't think I ever will be. I don't think I've fully grieved and fully recovered from my dad's passing. For context, for anyone that hasn't listened to the episode, he passed in 2021 in October. So just past 4 years since he passed away. And that was from COPD. But I'm positive most of his health conditions were induced or encouraged, brought upon by his alcohol usage, consumption. So I don't think I've recovered from that still. I'm better than what I was, in that regard. I'm not having the emotional breakdowns this year as much as I was maybe 2 years ago. Last year was pretty, I was pretty dead focused because I had prep to worry about. This year I had Abby's prep to worry about, my phasing out / towards a new line of work in terms of, starting online coaching, thinking about, qualifying as PT, and that will tie into what I want to talk about in a minute. But there's been a lot on my mind about thinking about my future, and what I want to be doing in the next phase of my life, like looking forward. But it's been a very muddled year. It's been busy. It's been blurry. It's been one where I'm looking back on thinking like, where's it gone? I had so many things that I wanted to tick off, and I can't remember if I've ticked them off or not, if that makes sense. Like when I really drill down to it, like I've transitioned, I've gained back time from work. So there's one thing. And, I started my online coaching business, shall we say, whilst I haven't actually gone out there to the public and started, advertising it. Behind the scenes, I've started. I set a goal of finishing my PT course this year. I'm not as close as I wanted to be, but I'm much closer. And that ties into something else I want to talk about in a minute. And then I think for me, because they were the big ones for me, like start my own business, transitioning back or gaining back time from work and starting that process, and finishing my PT course. And then I wanted to learn a new skill. And initially earlier in the year, I actually started taking up kickboxing, and then I really enjoyed it. But I struggled with the balance of kickboxing to bodybuilding. Like, if I'm being honest with you, like managing how I was feeling, the fatigue setting in, and then I started questioning whether or not I should be doing that, if it's wise, obviously with my goals in competing as well. Like, so then I, put that to the side for the time being. And then I thought to myself, in the last month, I was like, well, I did really enjoy it. Like, so there must be something else there to explore, whether that's just like a one-to-one coach, private sessions and things like that. So there's just a lot that goes on in my head about like wanting to, I think if I really boil it down to it, I'm a massive procrastinator. I think too far ahead. I worry too much. I'm an overthinker. Shock, if you've been listening. Very anxious individual. And I struggle to really focus on one thing at a time. Like, I know what I need to do to get me to where I want to be, but I have 5 other things alongside that one thing that I also want to pour time into. And I can't seem to switch my head off. I struggle to switch. I struggle to zone in on one thing. I struggle to really switch off, and it feels very noisy in my head sometimes. I feel like I never truly can be quiet in my head and relax. This is just being honest. Like recently I've been feeling very like clogged up mentally and a bit unclear on things, unclear on the future. And it worries me sometimes, when you sit there and think to yourself, especially, I think a lot of people think that I've got my life figured out. I come across as very secure. I come across as very like set in my viewpoints, set in my thoughts. But if I'm being honest with you, it's so far from the truth. I haven't got everything figured out. I'm trying, but I struggle to really pinpoint where I want to be. Like there's been so much in the past few years where, I thought I was going to be moving out with my partner multiple times whilst working at my current job. And that would have then tied me into the mortgage and doing that with a career that potentially I wanted to move away from. I thought that I wanted to move far away. And this is a big one for me, like this really hit me over the weekend. I had a real good heart-to-heart with one of my best friends on the weekend, and it came to light that whilst I've been so focused on wanting to move away, thinking that was the right thing for me and Abby, I'm starting to realize that maybe it's not just a case of wanting to move away. Maybe it's I was really trying to like think deeply about this. Maybe I wanted to escape what I knew I had to, it might not make sense, but escape what I knew I had to do to get me to where I want to be. It's a really deep thought, but put it this way, I think like deep down around the employment side of things and knowing that I'm meant for something else and more, I've dipped my toe into online coaching now. I've got 2 clients. I might be able to get another 1 or 2 by the end of the year, or maybe going into early next year. So that's great. I haven't advertised yet. I haven't really put myself out there, because then I know it's starting to be real. I know that that's the next step into the unknown. And I know it's like cliche. It's like, oh, yeah, well, you've got to do that. It's like, yeah, no, of course, I know I have to, and I will do it. But, I left school, which was so regimented, to go into sixth form. And then I went straight into my apprenticeship, then did my degree apprenticeship. And I've been in employment and worked up the ladder. I'm 27. I was 27 this year. And I've been with my company for a long time. I've climbed the ladder. I've been in multiple positions, and I've known full-time employment for so long. Structure, security, like safety, and quote unquote, working towards like making it on the corporate ladder, or whatever you want to say. But like when it starts to hit you, like, I'm obsessed with bodybuilding, obsessed with health and fitness, helping people. That's my main drivers, and where I feel most energetic. And then you piece together like, okay, maybe a personal training course is the right route for me, and then I take it on, and then it takes me a long time to complete it. It's like, what's actually going on here? I think it's that I'm preventing myself from the next step because I'm afraid. I think that's what it is. I think I'm afraid of the next step because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to succeed. I don't know if I'm going to fail. And it was a big realization over the weekend and the last few weeks that I've been having. And I think that's why, I've been really debating on, I was debating on actually picking up, well, not picking up the mic for God's sake, but switching on the recording today, because I thought to myself, do I really want to talk about this? I was like, no, of course you do. Like, this is important information. It's Men's Mental Health Month. Like, you're encouraging people to talk and listen to the podcast and feel empowered to talk. So I have to talk about these things and see, maybe I'm not the only person that goes through this, but, like, reach out to me. Let me know if you've been in some, a similar position. But that's where my head's been at recently. And I know I'm meant to push on for this next step, but I'm just so nervous about taking that leap into the unknown in fear of failing and in fear of falling back, going backwards. And I don't want that. And I really question why. Why am I like this? Why do I put blockers in place for myself? Why do I try and escape what I know I need to do? Now, on the escaping aspect, like, don't get me wrong. Me and Abby have long wanted to, on paper, move towards Dorset, down to the coast. We love being by the sea. I love being in water, by water. I'm a Cancerian, a Cancer sign, if you believe in that. It's a water sign. And we were pretty set on next year going and renting down south. And it would be a complete life change because all of our friends are local. The gym's local. Work at present's local. Family's all local. And whilst we wanted to do it, I think we were just obsessed with the idea of something new, maybe, moving away, starting afresh, just us two. But then when you really boil down to the specifics and you think to yourself, well, it does sound appealing, but do you want to be alone? And then I looked at it and I thought to myself, well, what drives me every day? I get to the gym and I'm so buzzy buzzy, like enthusiastic about being around people, the people I love, the people I know, the people that ask me for help, suggestions, seeing all the familiar faces, bouncing off people. And I am a family man. Like, I like times of peace, but I am a family man at my core. So, yeah, of course, from here to Dorset, it's max, depending on where you go, maybe 2.5 hours. It's not the end of the world. But when I really think about it, I'm like, am I just obsessed with the idea of something new because it's another thing to try and do, another thing to try and commit to, another new journey, rather than focusing on the journey at hand, which should be getting myself to the next stage in my life, which is, setting up myself as a successful online coach and, more importantly, a personal trainer. Because really, I think nowadays everyone's so obsessed in this world of being an online coach, working for themselves, which is great. But on the flip side, I actually, and I think it's far from a dying business, dying industry, dying business, whatever you call it, career. I am obsessed with the idea of helping people. I get so much out of helping people in person in the gym, in a casual way. And spotting people, hence the podcast. I want to be on the floor. I want to be helping people in person, talking to them about their days, what they're struggling with, seeing how they move, seeing how I can improve that, firsthand, and sort of gelling with them in person. That's what I vibe with. That's where I get the most out of people, in person energy. And everyone will say the same thing. So I'm like, right, well, don't stop thinking you need to get to 20 online clients. It's like, well, no, like if I don't want to be an online coach first and foremost as that's my main driver, then I just need to get my course done, because I've already accepted that now. You know what you want to be. So what's the next step you need to do? You need to finish your course, finish your coursework, submit. Okay, and what's the next step? Marked, passed. Okay, cool. After that, you're qualified. Now it's up to you. Now it's up to you to go and source gyms that you want to work with, put yourself out there, brand, advertise, word of mouth, referrals. I think it's just knowing that that's what comes next. Whilst it's exciting, like, trust me, it gets me so buzzed up and so like psyched. Knowing that at that point, I'm like, I am the decider about how successful I'm going to be, how far I take it. It's the next step to me working towards, coming away from a successful period of full-time employed work and potentially phasing out completely. It's like, oh shit, this is real. Like this is a complete change to your life. I think it frightens the shit out of me. But I beat myself up about it in the sense of like, why are you blocking yourself? Why do you keep distracting yourself? Why do you keep thinking about what next can you do? Where can you move to? What else can you do? So I think all these things that I've popped into my head over the years, I'm sort of almost like blocking what I'm truly meant to focus on. And it really pisses me off because I can't work out why my head's so full of all these other ideas that I can't seem to get out. I can't seem to zone in on certain things sometimes. I really, really struggle to concentrate. I really struggle to switch off. I even struggle to read. Like I buy books galore. I get halfway through them, then I get bored. I want to go on something else. Oh, cool! This book sounds wicked. Week later, that's another 10 chapters. Okay, cool. And then I never complete the book. So I think there's something there that I need to maybe explore, but I don't know how to go about that. I'm learning about myself. I really am. I'm learning about myself more than ever. This has been don't get me wrong, when I said it's been a very blurred year, it's been blurred in the sense of there's been so much going on. I kind of almost have forgotten what's gone on this year. Like, it's been very good from a personal development standpoint, learning about myself, learning about my interactions with people, my emotions, becoming very accepting of who I am. I will say that I am very, very comfortable with the person I am, but I wish I knew more about myself. I still haven't learned everything about myself. Maybe I never will. But what I can say is I'm very proud of the person I am for other people. That makes sense. I'm proud of the partner I am. I'm proud of the son I am. I'm proud of the sibling I am. I'm proud of the friend I am to many people. And I've had a lot of realizations this year. I think this is why it's been a difficult year for me as well, because I've had a lot of realizations. One being, emotionally, I'm very, very much an open book. I am an open book in general in life. But I'm very much I wear my heart on my sleeve. If look, I'll be honest with you, there isn't anyone I dislike. I always give people the benefit of the doubt. I give people second chances, third chances. Sometimes I think maybe taken advantage of. I think my goodwill gets taken advantage of. And again, I struggle to accept that other people are not like me. Like, not everyone's like me in the sense of going out of their way to help people without anything in return, wanting to reach out to people, checking on friends, checking on family, everything, like try and organize things, try and maintain relationships, be a support for people, be a good communicator, someone to rely on. I think I expect the same treatment that I give out to people back. And when you realize that that's not the way the world works, and that you're not always guaranteed to get people, acting the same way back to you, it's a real hard pill to swallow, because I don't know, it just, you think to yourself, well, why am I like I am then? Do I need to change the person I am? Do I need to start being more of a dick? Do I need to start being more secluded? Do I need to start telling people to fuck off? Do I need to start setting boundaries? But then, on the flip side, I'm like, well, if you do that, then you're not being authentic to yourself. So maybe I should just be the authentic individual I am, and still reach out, still be this loving individual, still be kind, empathetic, emotional, and try and be this, like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe it, like this big emotional being, and like, I suppose, like, fucking ball of positivity, good energy, good vibes, and try and maintain all these relationships, be there for everyone, be Mr. Likeable, be Mr. Nice Guy. Do I just say like that, or do I have to start setting boundaries? I don't know. Like, these are questions I don't know. So yeah, this is where my head's been at, and I just wanted to talk about these things, 'cause it's been really bugging me. I've been struggling recently. I don't think I'm talking enough about these things, and I had a conversation on the weekend, like I said, with one of my best mates, and it really did come to light. I was like, I think I do want to move to the coast, but is now the right time? Don't know. But then, do I want to go out there and get a mortgage right now? No. But then, do I need to go and rent right now? Well, like round here in the area I live, well, I could do, because then me and Abby get our own space together. But then, are we out putting more money than we need to right now, when we could be at home saving a little bit more? And then you're like, yeah, but then you're in this vicious cycle of, then when do you ever move down to the place that you claim to want to? It's really weird. So there's that, accepting that I pour so much into people all the time that I'm never guaranteed to get that same energy back. That's been a hard pill to swallow this year. It really has. It's really affected me. And I don't think I'll ever truly accept it. I'll try. But I don't know. I find it really hard to accept. I do. There's that. Me putting blockers and distractions in place for myself, stopping me from being where I want to be, being too nervous and worried about the future. It's been a real hard realization over the past few weeks and months for me, that I just don't think I'm talking enough. But I was determined today to get back from work, and I was like, no, I'm doing this one today. I'm going to talk about where my head's at the minute, how I'm feeling, and ensure that you're aware of this, you're listening, and hopefully I'm not the only person that struggles with these things. I fucking hope I'm not. And yeah, I think it's important for Men's Mental Health Month to ensure that I am showing up for the listeners. I am showing up this month and being that person that I know I am. But I'm basically just saying that I'm being that person. I'm showing up. I'm getting this out there. I'm shedding. I'm emotionally shedding, and I'm making sure that, as listeners and viewers, it's it's okay to do this. I don't feel embarrassed to do this. I thought it's hard to talk about these things and actually admit to this, because I haven't done this before. The weekend was the first time I admitted that I feel like I don't have everything figured out right now. I have general questions about life and what the meaning is, and that gets into deeper conversations. But right now, for whatever life is, this experience, there's some shit I need to sort out. There's some focus I need to put into things. I'm moving towards where I want to be slowly. I know I can do it a bit quicker. I know I can. I'm too nervous. I'm too frightened about the future. I'm putting in scenarios in my head that might never play out. That's an anxious individual. That's what prevents us from taking steps forward. An overthinker, I am that, and it really fucking annoys me. It really does. So let me know, like, for anyone out there that goes through similar things, overthinkers, anxious individuals, how do you deal with these emotions? How do you deal with these blockers, these things, this noise that goes on in your head, these scenarios that you put up that prevent you from taking steps forward? Or on the flip side, if you've listened and you thought, I'm in a similar position about, I find it difficult to accept that my, or your, relationships with people aren't necessarily the one, it's not exactly the same energy poured between individuals. Like, how do you accept that? How do you try and understand other individuals? Maybe we just have to acknowledge that we're all different. People take things in different ways, and you have to deal with things in your own way. It's hard, isn't it? It really is hard. It's fucking interesting learning about how my brain works and how I see the world and see people, and how I do wear my heart on my sleeve. I think I'm vulnerable in that sense. I'm vulnerable, and maybe I'm victim, or I'm kind of exposing myself there to saying that in saying that I am. Maybe I'm too open sometimes. Maybe I give off too much. Maybe I give away too much. Maybe I pour too much of my energy into people. I did feel a bit burnt out at the start of the year. I felt like I was almost trying to balance and juggle too much, too many relationships, too many friendship groups, too many social situations, family, my own time, goals. And I was like, I cannot focus. I cannot do all of this. I feel stressed out. And then I just got in, I just accepted, no, just hone in on the ones, hone in on the relationships, the moments, the situations that feel right, and pull yourself away from those that aren't serving you, those that aren't providing the same energy back. So I was like, yeah, do you know what? And I have done it, and I've noticed a change in certain situations. I've noticed that I feel a lot more in control now. I understand myself a bit better. I understand certain people better. And I understand how to hold myself in certain ways. So yeah, I think I'm getting better, but it's just a big learning curve. This year has been one of the biggest years for personal growth, personal learning. That's what I would say. And I will look back on this year for that and thank it for that, of course. I think that going forward, I think that I just need to be aware of these things. I think I need to accept the person I am. Like I said, I'm happy with who I am, but I need to accept that I deal with things in a certain way and some people don't. And I need to maybe start putting some plans, plan of actions in place to minimize distractions. What do I need to do to try and get my head around, focusing on certain things? I need to put reminders in place maybe to tell me where I want to be, get people to hold me accountable. I did that at work today, and I'm grateful for the individual that's going to hold me accountable for certain things I've said. So I think that's probably what I need to do, ensure that I know that there are people, watching me, wanting me to succeed like I do them. So like I owe it to them as well, And yeah, I just wanted to get all that out there. I think it's good to do this. I think it's good, especially in this month. I'll be doing a series of these this month for the Men's Mental Health Month, ensuring that I show up for you all, especially the men out there. Please do not suffer alone in silence. We know the figures on the men's suicide rates, and I think that as a whole, I think we're doing better as a society to really highlight male emotions, how we deal with things, how we perceive the world, how we feel. Maybe there will always be this stigma around men oversharing, that some people might think is oversharing, being emotional. I hope it isn't. I hope there isn't. Sorry. I think that, I want to try and be this role model for people that, you can be regarded as a strong male, physically, mentally, and still be emotional. It doesn't weaken anything. It doesn't do anything to your personal image. In my eyes, it strengthens it. And if you think otherwise, let me know. I'll be intrigued to see your reasons for thinking so. But we really do need to knock that thought process out and get, embed it for good. I am always here for people that want to open up, talk, vent, ask questions. I pride myself of being that individual as well. And, if you really do need help, reach out to Samaritans. They're there for a reason, and they do a bloody good job. There's been times in my life where I thought that there would be time, and I don't want to keep relaying this, but I thought that there would be an easier option. I wondered whether or not that life was worth it, if things would get better, and they did. I had good people around me. I had strong friends, strong family, and the gym, pouring myself into a hobby that really allowed me to realize a lot about myself, my mental strength, my discipline, my values, that I were able to pour into something. And yeah, it really did save me. It really did. In more ways than one, it made me realize a lot about myself in terms of where I want to be. And, I've been on stage 6 times now across 2 seasons, maybe going next year again or the year after. I've got goals for a natural pro card. So I owe that to, taking those steps and using the gym as a coping mechanism. It really did do a lot for me. And, it was one of the main reasons and motivators when I did lose my dad, just before I started my first prep season. There's a big push for me to make him proud and, do what I could for him, to show up for him. And then when I stood on stage for the first time, won my first show, I was like, yeah, that was for you. So yeah, I think that, like I said, it's been a big year for me. Personal learning, personal growth, acceptance. But I'm realizing that I need to talk more. I need to talk more about the things that I've spoken about today. I feel good for sharing that. And it's time to put some things in action now and hold myself accountable, but not demonize and, not demonize like my actions. If I don't take certain steps forward, I need to stop being this individual that almost badmouths myself and puts myself down for not being where I think I should be. As long as I'm taking small steps forward over time, and people have me, keep me accountable, I keep myself accountable, I'll get to where I want to be in life. But yeah, life is just crazy, isn't it? It really is. I hope you found some comfort in this. I really do. And yeah, like I said, for the men out there, please don't suffer in silence. I will be doing a series of these episodes across this month, likely to be looking into like the things I've learned over the last few years, and then talking about my journey with anxiety in more detail, and then talking about my emotional side, my triggers, things that maybe resonate with you, how I, got to where I am today. And I used to be quite a closed book. So I know I've spoken about counselling, therapy before, but I think we need to do a bit more about it, or talk into it a bit more, especially for people that might be struggling out there and know that it's an option for you. Okay. It helped me massively. So yeah, big month to try and drive home this message of, encouraging men to talk, encourage men to check up on each other, encouraging, women as well to check up on their men. Let's really do a big push this month to highlight the need to encourage all men to feel comfortable to talk, and not feel victimized or this fear of being weak. Yeah, we need to put that to bed. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in today. As I said at the minute, the goal of the podcast is to be the spotter for you lot out there, for you guys, spot you in more ways than one, not just on the gym floor. Although if I become a PT, we're doing a lot more of that. But trust me, I want to. And in doing so, I want to make sure that these episodes are driven by me first and foremost, and I'm doing what I need to do for myself in the hope that it helps you, because that's why I start this. Please do, if you want to come on the podcast and you've got something, compelling to say, you've got something that you want to share, shed, things that you think can help other people, of course, get in contact. But I'm really going to be driving these solo episodes as well, to show up for you. Okay. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really look forward to the next one, and take care.